Welcome back. Before the break, we looked at grade 10 and 11 work when we were looking at joints and muscles. We're now going to move over to grade 12 work, but grade 10s and 11s, sit and listen. This is very interesting. Last week, we were looking at the nervous system, and today we're going to look at a very important part of the nervous system that is involved with sensory reception. We are in a world where our environment is sending us messages all the time, and we need to respond to these messages. And two of the very important sense organs that we find in our body are, of course, the ear and the eye. And that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to start off with looking at the ear. The ear is the sense organ with very specific receptors that respond to vibrations. And of course, those vibrations are interpreted by the ear as sound. In humans, the ear is responsible for 3 different senses. And you thought the only thing your ear did was hear. Not so. Obviously, you hear with your ear. But your ear also senses change in movement of the head and assists you with balance, and the ear works out what position your head is in. Now you might think that that's not all that important, but it most certainly is for your survival. If you think of yourself as an animal that may need to catch prey or evade prey and run away, you need to be very aware of where your body is in relation to your head, what position your head is, and your ears do all of that sensing. So let's have a look very quickly at the structure of the ear. You need to do this in far more detail, but let's just summarize how your ear functions. It's important to realize that the ear has 3 different areas, what we call the outer ear, the middle ear, and then the inner ear. And what is important is that you never ever stick anything into your ear beyond that point, because what is in your middle ear and in your inner ear are very, very sensitive little bones, nerves, and organs that can become damaged very, very easily. Your outer ear, this structure here, is called a pinna, and it is designed to funnel vibrations and sounds into this ear canal. The ear canal passes these sound waves onto what is known as the tympanic membrane over here, or another word for the tympanic membrane is, of course, your eardrum. Now, just as with any drum, when you hit the drum, it vibrates and creates a sound which is amplified in the big drum part underneath the membrane. In the same way, your eardrum is a tightly stretched membrane that will vibrate when the sound waves impact on it or hit it. This vibration causes 3 very important little bones inside your middle ear to move. So a vibration hits the eardrum or the tympanic membrane. That causes this first bone called the malleus, which looks very much like a hammer, to move. The hammer or the malleus hits on what we call the incus, this next bone. Tiny, tiny little bones, very, very small. And the incus then hits onto the third bone called the stapes or the stirrup. Look how it looks like a stirrup. That little bone then in turn hits onto the oval window and makes the oval window vibrate. So it's a series, almost like, I'm sure you've lined up a whole lot of dominoes and you touch the one and the one causes the other and the next one to fall over and the next one to fall over and so on. In the same way, the eardrum vibrates and passes this vibration on to each successive bone. Once the oval window vibrates, the vibrations are now passed into the inner ear. And here the vibrations are no longer in air, but now the vibrations are converted into vibrations in liquid. The inner ear here is filled with liquid. And it's only in the inner ear that we get our different functioning happening. This part of the inner ear here is involved with balance and determining position of the head. And you can see it's got these semicircular canals, which it's very difficult to indicate on a flat surface, but the 3 semicircular canals are at different angles, and they've got little crystals in them. And when you move your head in one direction, it detects the crystals that are falling in one position, and that message then is sent via these nerves to your brain. Likewise, hearing happens when vibrations pass down this cochlea, and in the cochlea there are little hairs, very special cells called the organs of Corti, and they detect the sound waves and pass that message to the brain along the auditory nerve. After the break, we're going to look at the functioning of the eye, also in very brief detail only.